All right, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKadosh, the double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. All right, first off, I want to say Shalom to the ones that push this word out in truth and in sincerity, which are the apostles and elders on down to the brothers. All right, Shalom to the ones that endure this faith until the very end, till the time of Jacob's trouble, which are, again, the apostles and elders on down to the brothers and a few sisters. All right, so Shalom. I want to do this, quick video. Not really a quick video, but like a little lesson on pretty much based on this post that the elder GMS Awakening 144 sent out. Amawan Gabar. So pretty much this post says Russia and Iran finally dumped the US dollar for good. Right? And again, this was bound to happen. The US dollar is not at its peak. As we've seen, this man runs like an entire debt, right? That's Habakkuk 2, right on up. He laid himself in thick clay. That's what? The debt. This man is literally swallowed up in nothing but debt that he cannot pay. That's like owning a house. You got to pay bills and you ain't got the money to pay it. But the due date is up, right? It's coming up soon. So that's what? Revelation 12 and 12. They have but a short time. So, and it was already said that they're going through this certain program that's supposed to start in January, where most of these countries are, dropping the US dollar. Why? Because the US dollar has no value anymore. When this man first brought out the US dollar, America is one of the top empires of this world. But now, they're despised upon. Why? Because the scriptures say that these things must happen. This man's power structure, it's not going to last. Right? As you see, the US dollar is getting more, vague. You got the cost of living increases, the inflations, stuff like that. This man cannot keep up. Nobody can barely keep up in this society. That's why it's more homeless. So I wanted to go into, the breakdown, right, of Isaiah 14. Right. So this is Isaiah 14 and 11. It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave. Right. The elder here of Baltimore, he goes into that. Right. The pomp. Let's keep reading. It says, and the noise of thy vials, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. So thy pomp, right? The pomp is what? The infrastructure, the excellency, right, of this man. So with Isaiah 14 on up, the entire 14th chapter, what Isaiah 14 was, was Isaiah, he was making a mockery, right? A song, a mockery towards, the king of Babylon at that time. He was making a mockery towards, the king's death, right? We all know we don't deal with the Babylonian kings. So, this was a righteous mockery towards him, right? So he was, talking about, how his excellency is not going to last. And the worms are spread under thee. That's, his remembrance, right? Let's go into it. His remembrance being buried. So it's pretty much like a form of commentary of Isaiah 14, right? So pretty much, let me get Isaiah 14 and we'll go with Isaiah 14 and 11, right? We'll start with 11. So that was talking about what? His pride, right? The pomp being brought down to the grave. Again, his excellency. But what does it also fully go into, right? Again, it says it's a taunting song, a mockery of a normal funeral dirge, if that's how you say it, right? Here's the main point. Isaiah shows that this king will not be honored even in the afterlife by those who have died before him, right? So that's what? That's the sepulchres, right? He's not going to be buried in the sepulcher. That's why it said, the worms are spread under thee. This man's not going to die in a sepulcher because, that would be honor. Or buried with your fathers, right? That would be honor. Like a dying an honorable death. But, what did it say? It said, he would not be honored by those even in the afterlife, right, who died before him. He's not going to be buried with his fathers, right? When all throughout the scriptures, it talks about he's buried, he slept with his fathers, right? They do that with almost every king or every person. But this man, he's not going to be slept with. He's not going to sleep with his fathers, right? And his fathers is what? His past life. His father's father. The genealogies. So they're not going to pay any form of respect to him. And what that pomp is, what? His excellency, right? The sound of his harps are brought down to Sheol or Shiloh, right? That's where you get the hell doctrine from, right? It was from Gehenna. Where they bury the pit, like they have a pit and they throw the sick, filth, dead, trash, stuff like that. And then they set it on fire. Then they called it hellfire. Right? So it goes into it further. That pomp is all the royal finery and symbols of power, right? And that's being stripped away. That's what it means by that, his pomp, his excellency, right? All form of symbol and power. Like how they had in China or something like that. They had an imperial seal, right? This little cubular object that represents power. And whoever had it, like an emperor, that shows that they own the land. So it said the once feared king of Babylon is no longer important or significant. There is no reason to fear this man, for he is just that, a powerless husk of the former ruler. He is merely another dead soul whose body will feed worms and bacteria. So, again, this was a whole mockery, right? So, I want to get into Isaiah 14 and 12. So, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Right? So, the average Christian is going to sit here and think that Lucifer falling from heaven. They're going to think, oh, it was Satan, falling from heaven, right? But again, let's go into what this actually means, right? Because we all know that Lucifer, it means light bearer, right? That's all it means. But pretty much, the Lucifer, that was explained in here again is part of his mocking song towards the king of Babylon, right? Now, if we add both of those together, light bearer, the pomp being brought low, the king's power, again, that sounds very familiar, right? Because that all leads to his power structure. It's all a representation. So pretty much, here we go. The passage refers to the figure as Daystar, son of the dawn, right? Again, when you go to Lucifer, right, the son of the morning, right? That's where you get, the morning star. So then, it started translating to the planet Venus. Of course, we don't go into that. But, they say it's a bright planet, at night, which again, that means, the brightness, the light. So then, it started going through multiple different translations, like the Septuagint, right? And then Hieros, right? It all kept going, to Greek, right? Greek and then Latin. So pretty much a dawn bringer, right? It all, just to make it more simple, it all translates to dawn bringer, pretty much light bearer, right? Or possibly light bringer. It says it right here. So therefore, anytime it talks about like Lucifer, it's light, right? That's why you got this enzyme for lightning bugs. It's called luciferase. Luciferase is a glowing, enzyme. That's the same thing that they put, in the snake oil, right? It glows. It's called luciferase because it's, to Lucifer. So now that we all have this added up, let's go to Isaiah 13 and 10, right? Because now that we know, that Lucifer represents, the light, right? His power structure, his excellency, all his symbols of rulership. We can go to Isaiah 13 and 10. It says, "For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine." Right? So the constellations of heaven, right? The stars of heaven and the constellations thereof, that's, again, this man's rulership, which is not going to last long. Shit, even an actual star eventually dies. But this man's power structure is going to die forever, right? Because the longer that this man is in power, the more we're going to be sitting here, in captivity, right? The more the earth is going to mourn. We can't. This man has to be taken out of power, and we obviously see that happening as prophecies kick off. Again, this man's U.S. debt is like trillions, right? 80-something trillion. That's a lot of debt. And this man cannot pay it. And that US dollar, the value, it's always been going down ever since, for centuries. And now it's going to crash. So, when this was, edifying, I wanted to go into, Isaiah 14 and 11, because that's a breakdown to help debunk, that Lucifer fallen from heaven. It was Satan falling from heaven, and average Christians, they will always believe that, right? They're not given, the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. So I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah HaKadosh, and Shalom.